What is going on, everyone? Welcome to today's News Night. Happy Friday. For God's sake, I thought it was Monday until like 2 minutes ago. I am your host for this episode, Steve Bowling. I'm joined, as always, by my good friends and GVG co-founders, Ash Paulson in the upper left, Derek Bittner in the lower right, and Kevin from the Golden Bolt. How's it going, man?
Good. I have slept a little bit today, so I'm good. It's a good day.
Yeah,
you know, I do what I did. I spoke about this before, but I stayed up till 2:30 a.m. Playing Rift Apart, and then got up at like 5:30, 6 o'clock to take care of pets / baby, and I was done for the day. I was wiped. So
yeah, it is.
Take care of yourself.
It is a good day. We've had a lot of good things happen today, but more topically important, it's Ratchet and Clank Rift Apart release day. So we've got a review, thanks to Derek. We've got additional copies to go around, thanks to PlayStation, and we've got the perfect guest to talk about this game. So I want to open the show by talking just a little bit about it. I'm going to read these 2 super chats we got, and then let's give our quick impressions on Ratchet and Clank. Now that the embargoes are lifted, we can talk about whatever the hell we want. So Isaac Wolf with a 50 Swedish krone donation says, I just wanted to say thanks to you for bringing such good energy. It helped me handling my PTSD, which has gotten worse with the last couple of months. Wow, that is high praise. Yeah. Thank you.
Yeah, seriously, thank you very much. And we're so happy to hear that.
Help in any way.
Been able to help in any way we can. Yes, yeah. Thank you so much.
Anything we can do to make y'all feel better about your day is puts a smile on my face. So I'm very happy to hear that. And thank you so much for your generosity. RC with a $5 super chat says, hey guys, I missed the MGB chat last week, but wanted to point out that Beck was in the OG 2014 Mighty Gunvolt 2 years before his own game came out.
I remember playing that. I had hope.
Yeah, I do have that, and I never.
Yeah, it was better than the game.
Yeah, it was. Everything Beck was in was better than his own game, including inexplicably Ninja Gaiden he was in, which
that's true. He was, yeah.
Yeah, they were like Ninja Gaiden Yaiba.
What about that?
Let's put Beck.
But like the original Mighty Gunvolt was pretty cool, and it's funny how he's in a few games, but they're all better than his own game. Yeah,
it really. So
these days I will make Derek play through Burst.
So let's talk a little bit. I know, Ash, that you haven't gotten to play it yet, but thanks to PlayStation, they sent Ash a code just before the show started. So over the weekend, Ash will get some time with Rift Apart. But I mean, I've got 2 of the biggest
intermission.
Ratchet and Clank. Yeah, we've got intermission too, which we'll probably
that's my weekend project.
Yeah, I haven't even thought about intermission yet. Like,
no, I literally I have it. It's sitting there, but
yeah, like I haven't even started downloading it. I was like, I haven't looked at my phone in like 2 days. It's just been since Thursday when Sony sent me a code. I have been in this hole just absorbing Rift Apart.
Which, hey, kudos to you, man, because you've also played more than I have at this point, because you platinumed the damn thing.
Yes, so yeah, I platinumed it. I did 1 run and then 1 New Game Plus run. I haven't technically done like all the weapon maxes or anything, but I'm about as done as anyone's gonna be. And man, it's good. It's real good.
Yeah.
I cannot wait to play this game, you guys. And I've actually been working on. I just finished Ratchet 2016 again. Or not again. I played Ratchet 2016 again and finished it this time, so I'd have a touchstone to compare Rift Apart to when we discuss it next week.
Yeah. Real quick, before Yu Narukami, who I'm singling out for good reason, asks to Kevin, how easy was it to platinum the game?
So the general estimate of time I would give is I myself platinumed it in probably, in terms of gameplay, 15 and a half to 16 hours. I played on hard, which wasn't the hardest difficulty, but on hard. But that is me, and I would not take my platinum time as an indication of what your platinum time would be, because I know where they're going to hide everything. I already know.
Yeah.
So
you played enough of these games, you know what to look for. And even if you don't, guess what? We got a map-o-matic.
Yeah. Well, and they did it in a weird way in this game, too, because immediately, once you get to a level that has a mini-map, or a pause screen map, rather, you'll see that when you pass by parts of the map, it'll fill in with, like, oh, there's a gold bolt right where you just passed. Like, somewhere on that area of the map.
I played through the whole game,
me off.
And didn't notice that at all.
I checked the map and I'm like, wait, why is that there?
I checked
the map first level
constantly in Ratchet and Clank games because of that. I was like, okay, where's the offshoots that I can go on? Like, go this way. I'm going to go this way. But the other cool thing that I didn't even mention in the review, I don't remember this, and you'll have to correct me if I'm wrong, Kevin. but I don't believe you could ever target what you were going for, because you can click on the map and say like, oh, there's a golden bolt here, lead me to it, and it'll take you like, okay, it's this far away, go in this direction, and you can head right to it. You might have to still figure out how to get to it, but exactly. But yeah,
yeah, that was right out of Spider-Man, from what I could tell. Like the same, it wasn't the same like UI entirely, but I'm pretty sure they took probably that system from Spider-Man's tracking.
I'm glad you mentioned that, because I did feel there was some level of familiarity, because I spent a lot of time playing Miles Morales and Spider-Man. And this was really the first Ratchet and Clank game that I went deep into and finished. And I did feel kind of at home with the user interface and how certain things were laid out, just because it did feel very familiar from Spider-Man. I was like, oh, well, makes sense for me because it's an Insomniac game, but I didn't, realize that wasn't something that predated Spider-Man, because I don't have a ton of history. One of the things that I found really interesting about Ratchet and Clank was just when I saw the trailers and they showed kind of the rift jumping mechanic, as it were, I was like, okay, some of this has to be a little bit bullshit. Like, maybe it's, they made the transition smoother, or they hit a delay somehow. No, 100%. Like, it is exactly as cool. And it's even more impressive when you're playing the game, like when you're actually sitting down and playing it without going into spoiler territory at all, because I don't want Ash to be spoiled. But there were various moments in the game where rifts would appear and you would go through them, and it wouldn't be like a minor environmental change. It would be a pretty big one.
Yeah. Right.
And it goes off like without skipping a beat. And even after like the 15th, 16th time seeing it, it never stopped impressing me or taking my breath away when it happened. I'd be like, look at this. I have so many clips from this game on my hard drive.
One of the first things I did was the first time you got to one of those pocket dimensions, you just transitioned right into it as you walk through.
Oh, yeah.
I basically did the Homer Simpson, Australia, America, just to see how it did. Not a hiccup. It was just like, nope, this is all normal, good. And it is never not impressive. Go ahead, Kevin.
I'm sorry. Yeah, one of the coolest parts is if there are a few of them where you can go behind the rift. And you can kind of see there's like nothing behind it.
So cool.
Like you can like I played with the camera and I could see it is actually just like, I think Insomniac was talking in one of the postmortems they did already, where they mentioned that like they actually load everything that's behind you as you're turning. Like they don't have any assets stored behind you. It all loads instantly, rather than having to store it. So they can allocate all that space to making everything look as incredible as possible directly in front of you. And it shows, man.
Great.
I mean, here's the exciting thing for this, because, Kevin, when we went from the PlayStation 2 era to Tools of Destruction, that was a mind-blowing jump in quality.
Yeah.
But going from Tools of Destruction to Crack in Time was an even bigger jump. Yeah. Once Insomniac knows the PS5 and puts all their little tricks to it, we get a sequel. This thing's gonna be freaking amazing.
Yeah,
and killing me. I'm so hyped to play this. Between this and intermission, it's gonna be a great weekend. I'm so excited.
Oh yeah,
and then E3 right after. It's a good week.
Yeah. And E3 right after. Yeah, and during really.
And during
so many action streams this weekend to do. Yeah.
Yeah, I blocked
I've
E3
seen
out
this
of my mind.
many times before, and I take it from Steve. Steve has barely played any Ratchet and Clank games, and he is ecstatic about this.
Oh yeah, this is 100% my game of the year right now, and I have a hard time imagining a game that's going to change my mind. Like, of all the things I know that are coming, I'm like, which one's going to do it? I really don't think that there's anything that hits all those notes of being a technical marvel, because it really is. Like, it does stuff that, I mean, we've all been told what the PS5 can do, but Ratchet and Clank puts it into practice and does it so well that you're like, I can't believe consoles can do this.
I mentioned in my review, but the haptics on this thing, like I've not played like Returnal,
haptics,
but the haptics,
the gunplay in Ratchet and Clank, and this sounds like a weird sentence for me to say as someone who's not a hardcore fan, the gunplay in Ratchet and Clank is the best I've ever felt in any game I've ever played in my life, and that's no hyperbole, zero exaggeration. Like, and it's not just like the component of how it works in the game. It is also how well they utilize the DualSense for this. Like, every pull of the trigger, you do it with intent, and that is just such a good feeling when you do that.
One of my favorite
Yeah.
things. Oh, you go first, Derek. Go ahead.
Okay, I was just gonna say, and I mentioned this in my review. My favorite weapon in this game is the shield, of all things.
Okay,
It's just-
yeah.
Which is interesting, yeah.
The shield is like just put into practice exactly what they're going for, because you hold it halfway, you feel that little stop, and there's your shield open and blocking shots. But if you pull it down the entire way, it blasts the shield forward and it becomes a weapon at that point. And it's just such an easy flow from one stage to the next that I never got quite that same sense from the shotgun that they always advertised before the game came out. Shotgun I actually had a little bit of a hard time with when it first came out, so I wasn't
Really?
exactly
You're
sure.
talking about the Executor, right?
I believe
Yeah,
so.
yeah, that's
I
the evolved name. Yeah.
Love the Executor, but it's not my favorite weapon. But I do like it. Like, you get that kind of double barrel action from the trigger squeeze. But I really enjoyed, of all things, the Shatter Blast like the most. I don't know what it was, but I love using that damn thing. Like, especially when you upgrade it, because it leaves like little shards all over the ground, like purple shards, and they'll attach to enemies and then detonate again. Oh, I abused that thing like a lot.
I have to ask, speaking of abusing guns, I abused the pixelizer, the hell out of the pixelizer in Ratchet 2016, and I love that thing. Is there anything akin to that in Rift Apart?
It is in Rift Apart.
Oh, it is in Rift Apart. Hell
It's
yes.
only-
I love the pixelizer. Nice.
So
Really?
I don't
I
know if
thought
my
so.
version was bugged. I upgraded after I got my copy from PlayStation. So I paid the extra $10 for the whatever bonus. It's supposed to give you the pixelizer ahead of time, I thought. But it doesn't appear until New Game Plus otherwise. And
Oh,
I haven't
interesting.
actually had a chance to
That's
start
too bad.
challenge mode yet.
it's
didn't-
kind of shit in
is
this
that-
game. I'm not gonna lie. It's not very good in this. I loved it in PS4. In this game, you have to level it up first because it's not good at all. Like,
I see.
but
That's
once
too
it's
bad.
leveled up, it's okay. But they have better weapons. Like, it's that and the bouncer. Bouncer's pretty good,
I
but
didn't realize they added that. Is that the first time they've introduced new weapons in the challenge mode?
no. Ratchet 2 had the Clank Zapper, the Clank backpack
that's
gun,
true. I forgot
and
about
the
that.
Zodiac. The Zodiac was available in the main run, but it was the one. I think in 2, and then I think that's it.
Yeah, I think that's the only ones. And I never the Clank Zapper wasn't that great, so I never really bothered with it.
It was one of those where I think they had to fill a slot because they had X amount of guns already slotted, and one of them didn't work. Like, the bouncer was a replacement gun. It wasn't supposed to be in Ratchet 2.
Wow.
But the Rift Inducer from Ratchet 3 wasn't ready in time for Ratchet 2. So
Oh,
they
okay.
said, oh, we're just going to take this bouncer idea we had in pre-production and throw it in. And that became like the most popular gun in the series.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, Bouncer's pretty
Well,
great.
Yeah.
I've
right.
got a few late night gaming nights ahead of me because, as you guys know, I had to do a factory reset on my PS5 just to be able to download Intermission. It wouldn't work for me from the code square.
That's-
I feel like
keep sweat
Ash
for that.
like houses
And-
a magnet in his body somewhere.
so-
Yeah, there's something in with Tech and Ash.
And I've never had any issues with my PS5, but I actually had to do a factory reset just to get Intermission to download. Now we've got Rift Apart. We're discussing it next week. I'm gonna get
Yeah.
a bunch of coffee, and I'm doing the Intermission review, so I gotta get this shit going. So here we go.
CJ, Kevin, by the way, I'm just going to do this live on the air. Would you like to be part of that? I feel like this discussion could
sure,
go
absolutely.
for hours.
Yeah,
it
I
easily
will
could.
take it as long as we need to take it. Absolutely.
You
Nice. Okay, there you go. So-
Because I will say this right now, Kevin has played way more than I have. I love
Perfect.
my Ratchet and Clank, but he
I
knows
like the
it.
dichotomy of having two experts and two noobs for a panel discussion about Ratchet and Clank. So stay tuned to
Same.
the channel. We will have that next week. We're gonna go deep on Ratchet and Clank after Ash has finished it and talk about everything. I'm gonna try to platinum it before then. That'll be my mission.
I'll see if I can. If I get
Just-
the time, I'm going to try to do
crit
that
path it
as
so
well.
we can do
Yeah.
it. I'm just going to crit path it. I do have to do Intermission first because I have that review on deck, but I'm going to crit path Rift Apart so we can discuss it sooner rather than later. I'm committed to staying up. Coffee. Let's do this. I'm ready.
Do not break
I don't-
yourself. We're not about that here.
Yeah,
I'll say this. I don't
so
think you're
yeah,
going to need
sure.
coffee for it, at least in my
Ash
opinion.
needs coffee for everything.
Okay, well then maybe,
For everything. See,
maybe.
right? Yeah,
But
yeah.
like the flow state, I said this before we went live. The flow state that I was in Rift Apart, I did not think for like 10 straight hours. I just
can't
played.
Wait to play this game.
If I didn't have to worry about recording footage, which I always do in hour chunks, I
Yeah.
could have easily just.
Yep.
Yep.
I think I went like an hour 45, and I have like a 30 gigabyte file now because of it that I have to try and fit into Vegas somehow.
Oh man,
Yeah, good luck.
good times.
All right. We've got a lot of news to cover. I didn't think we'd go that long on just the intro. But real quick, Yu Narukami, Nathan the voice actor, happy birthday, man. I expected
Happy
we'd get to
birthday.
that like
Happy birthday.
20 minutes ago, but happy birthday.
Happy
Glad
birthday.
you're here. We love you. Thank you so much for all your support. We love every member of the EP squad, but it is your birthday today. So thank you. And there's your shout out, my friend. I hope you have a great day. Thanks for being with us on your birthday, by the way. That's
Thank
awesome.
you for spending your birthday with
That is
little
very
us.
cool.
We appreciate it.
Yeah.
We're making it worth your while.
Yeah, absolutely. I hope you like Ratchet and Clank. Anyway,
They
before
don't have
we
a
get
PS5, so
Yeah. Before
Yeah,
we get
good luck.
into the news proper, we do have 2 super chats I'm going to read out real quick. Reminder, we read super chats between every story here on TNT. So if you do one while we're talking about the news, we'll get to it after that story is over. If you're listening on podcast services, you don't know what a super chat is, so you're fine. Anyway, Late Night Sprites with a $5 super chat says, "Hello, homecoming hero here. This is my first ever live show. Loki on Wednesday, In the Heights, the movie, Rift Apart, E3, No Sleep Club Unite." Well, you're in good company here. So,
Yes.
there's
Yes,
a lot
and
there.
we will be posting our E3 schedule later today on our Twitter, so
yes,
keep an eye out for that as well.
We have
Yes.
we have that settled. So we will be back tomorrow for the beginning of E3. Alan Gibbs, also with a $5 super chat, says, "Hey Derek, I loved your Metroid movie treatment. Amazing work. Can you do a treatment of Castlevania? Maybe the 1999 story. Also, Aloy for Smash." That
yeah.
is I will not speak for Derek, but I can tell you that took him months. That was a lot of,
And that was when I
intense
didn't
labor.
have a kid.
Yeah. So I would say maybe wait for like a few years for that.
I mean, the other
Right.
thing is, as we'll get into, we already have Castlevania, so it's hard to have something competing with that, you know?
Yeah.
Oh, Derek, you know you could single-handedly make a treatment better than the Castlevania anime. Come on,
I
you
don't
got
know. I
this.
could maybe make one more
kidding,
faithful,
of
but I
course.
don't think
Yeah.
I could top it. That
No,
was
no.
some amazing stuff.
I need
Yeah, I'm being facetious.
I need to watch this. But anyway,
Dude, you do.
we got lots of news to cover. I'm going to jump right into it. I don't have a segue. We're just doing it live. Let's get this first story up on screen. And Nintendo, king of stability updates, has issued what I like to call an instability update. Kotaku reporting that some Switch users cannot download games after the 12.0.3 firmware dropped. And I've already seen a few folks in the chat talking about this. I do have 12.03. I got lucky. I downloaded Game Builder Garage and it failed like one time and then worked after that.
Nice.
But this has been kind of an interesting tale of woe, as it were, because this update was already pulled once because of this issue and then brought back, and it's still doing it. So
That's
Nintendo
wild.
is clearly having some kind of issue figuring out what it is in their new firmware is causing eShop problems.
They should
I don't
probably
know.
send Ash in to figure out, because Ash will figure out exactly what the problem is.
I know, right?
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah.
Just put Ash on tech support for a few days.
Yeah. I thankfully have dodged this. I haven't played my Switch a whole lot lately since I've been focusing mostly on PS5 stuff, or PS4 in this case, like Ratchet and Clank, of course. But I'm just lucky, I guess, that I haven't needed to download anything on my Switch since this update. I do have the update. I definitely did the system update, but I haven't been borked by this issue just because I haven't needed to download anything.
Yeah, it's definitely weird. Like, it will eventually work, but a lot of people are reporting like they'll be downloading and then it'll say, "Oh, hey, that didn't work." And then they have to like cancel it and start it again, and cancel and start again repeatedly until whatever it is just installs. It leads me to wonder if maybe 1203 shouldn't have come out this early. Maybe Nintendo has some kind of change to the eShop coming soon, and 1203 has hooks in it for, I don't know. It's all conjecture basically, but I don't know how the hell you break the eShop, because the eShop is a website. It's not anything besides that. Like, it's not an app built into the Switch. It literally is just accessing a website. So they either like change something about the browser that the Switch uses, which makes no sense because none of us can access the browser. It's just a very weird problem, and I don't understand what the root of it is, or why Nintendo would make that change, unless there was some kind of back-end change to the eShop that maybe wasn't supposed to roll out yet and is out there now, and Nintendo hasn't quite sorted the issue. But
And they've had a couple of these, because they had the issue with Hyrule Warriors Age of Calamity, where the season pass was given out for free. Like, there was that exploit that they then rolled back and said, no, you don't get it free if you downloaded it.
Right.
So that's not the
sense.
first time recently that we've had eShop issues.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I say this every time something with Nintendo and their online infrastructure comes up, but please just farm it out. Like, farm it out to someone else. Just anybody else. Like,
anybody else.
I love
I don't even
Nintendo,
know
but
if
they
I
should
have this update.
they should just stick
I haven't
to
turned on my
making
Switch
games.
in so long.
Well, it's weird because, I mean, in terms of stability updates, they don't usually, bork anything like this. And the fact that they not only had to pull it and then re-release it, and it's still borked, like, this is just maybe E3 fever is getting to them. They're just stretched too thin with E3. But if that's the case, this is the one time you don't want to not have downloads and your eShop working, because I assume they're going to shadow drop something at least next week.
Well, they also said they're going to have like a sale starting on Tuesday as well. So
right.
So
this
is
perfect timing.
Yeah.
What I'm hearing
work
is
weekend for a few folks at Nintendo IT.
Well, to be fair, and this is awfully cynical, but purchasing works fine. It's just the
not downloading.
The things you purchase that don't work. They're like, we got your money, thanks.
Good luck getting a refund.
What else you going to say, Kevin?
I was going to say, from what I'm hearing from all this, is Switch Pro confirmed.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean,
Obviously.
it's the 4K eShop is what's causing the issues.
It's the only thing that ever runs in 4K on the system.
Oh, so it's
just
like the menus from Star Allies. It's the only thing
View
that-
our
the menus is
720p
the only one that's
trailers on a
60 FPS.
4K browser.
Yeah. Anazisa in our YouTube chat says, I'm just glad that I got Just Shapes and Beast before the update, which, by the way, I missed one of today's news tonight because that game is so great. Hell yes, Anna. Thank you for supporting that game. I have talked about it so much. I love that game to death, and everybody should check it out. Just Shapes and Beats is awesome.
Speaking of the Switch Pro, thanks to Kevin for the layup there. Narik, I'm going to say, with a $4.99 super chat says, 1, if the Switch Pro was 4K, would there be problems with game compatibility between the Pro and the regular Switch? Thanks and good vibes. Probably not. So, I mean, we're diving into rumor territory here, and I'm going to try to be quick, even though this is pretty on topic. Nintendo, if you believe the rumor mill, has been reaching out to developers for like the last year, telling them like, hey, you might want to get your games ready for 4K, get your icons, stuff like that, assets for games ready. The common belief, of course, there's no confirmation of this, is that they've developed the Switch Pro and the SDK for it in such a way that developers just have to optimize for it the same way they optimize for docked or handheld mode. So it's just like a third performance profile that they have to optimize for. So I don't think that would necessarily cause compatibility issues, but I do firmly believe, just like Nintendo has done with their other upgraded handhelds in the past, that we will get some games that are only for the Switch Pro. And just like it's happened in the past, I don't think those will do very well. So I think by and large we'll see some games that just for whatever reason can't run on the older Switch, and I think you'll see more of those over time as they try to transition away from it. But I think the early ones that come out, like Xenoblade did on the 3DS, just won't perform super well because you're just limiting your audience, right? Like you've got millions and millions of people with the Switch that we all know and love, and then like
probably be more like Majora's Mask.
Yeah, probably because they don't want to fragment their audience too early on. The Switch is doing so well that would be kind of kneecapping themselves and undercutting their own efforts if they fragmented their audience right down the middle like that and made it, the two incompatible with one another. So I assume they're going to try to make the two compatible as much as humanly possible.
Yeah, exactly. And I think that I think what you'll largely see is games that look good on the Switch but look better on the Pro. And speaking of things that are looking better, let me get our next story up on screen. Courtesy of Geeked Week, which, as you all know, we declined to cover because it's a DMCA nightmare. Cuphead. We got a look at the Cuphead cartoon in motion. I gotta say, my doubts are resolved.
Yeah, it needed this. Even just this 40-second clip, if anything, just absolves so much because you didn't see the graininess, but seeing it in motion, seeing the way they move, seeing the designs. Oh yeah, they got it. They nailed it.
Yeah, they definitely captured the feel of the game, like the look. Well, the look and feel of the game.
Those backgrounds.
Yeah.
It looks great, and I'm feeling totally vindicated because I was like, I think this is going to be great, but we weren't sure, and I'm like, nah, I think they're going to pull it off. They're pulling it off so far, at least.
Yeah, I think they just chose really poor frames for the key art that they used, like because it made it kind of feel like maybe it had like a Ren and Stimpy or kind of vibe to it, or like that new Mickey Mouse cartoon that's out that's a little more humorous than one might expect.
This is the same people behind that, so
Yeah, and that's where my mind went when I saw the initial art. But seeing the show actually in motion, even like you said, Derek, it's just 40 seconds, but it's a damn good 40 seconds. I really like it. Not to mention Wayne Brady is the Dice Man, who I did not expect to be like. I didn't see him in that role, but once I heard his voice, I was like, "Oh man, that fits." And
I was so confused because the one time I opened Twitter in the past like 48 hours was I opened Twitter and I saw Wayne Brady was trending, and I didn't look at it. I was like, "All right, I'll figure that out later. I don't care." And then I checked today's like news notes. And I was like, "Oh, that makes a lot more sense," and I'm excited for this. Awesome.
Yeah,
he does a good job.
It looks good. I'm really excited. Every time I see a celebrity trending, I think they either did something awful or they died. I'm like,
yeah, it's either one of the two.
But yeah, I would say, I'm really excited now. I'm actually super hyped to see Cuphead when it comes out. Now the question I have is, does Cuphead the show come out first, or does the DLC release first?
Oh, the show.
Bet on the show.
Probably.
Bet on the show.
It seems like the DLC is still a little ways off. Yeah.
Yeah, that's unfortunate. But I don't think we have a ton to say about this. There will be more coming out on this soon.
Worth it when it does come out, the DLC for sure.
Yeah, but for now, and look forward probably to a Cuphead show discussion whenever the show releases and we can all watch it. I'll keep up with you guys on that one. I don't have time for 4 seasons of Castlevania right now.
Oh,
dude, the first season's 4 episodes. I promise you, you do.
It flies by in no time.
You got it. They're like 22-minute episodes. You have to watch this show, Steve.
I want to watch it.
So good.
I absolutely want to watch it, but 4 seasons of anything in my life, like even 4 naturally occurring seasons in time, feel like too much for me to bear. So it is.
I'll say I'm with you on that one because I watched season 1 right when it came out and I loved it. I watched part of season 2 and I just happened to something came up and I just stopped watching it. And I tried going back a couple days ago and I was like, "There's so much here, man.
Yeah,
I don't have time right now. I want to, but I don't have time."
Generally considered the best one too.
I am paralyzed by backlog anxiety with that show now. I'm just like, oh, well, that's a lot of show to watch. I guess I'm just not going to start. It's like when you look at a really dirty house and you're like, where do I clean first? What do I do?
Just burn it and start over.
Yeah.
Thankfully, it isn't like hour-long episodes though, and it's not full-length seasons. I think the maximum length of any season is 10 episodes, and they're all like 22-minute length episodes. Nice. So it's definitely more digestible.
22-minute episodes is 200 minutes. That's like
for sure. No, man, I hear you. Yeah, that's fair.
It's just weird, like, because I can find that time for other stuff. I'm not gonna lie. Like I can, the other night I was like, man, PSO2 is looking good. I'm gonna play that for 6 hours.
Yeah,
I mean, I know that it's my
just where
fault.
The priorities go.
Yeah, it is also more difficult in a house with a lot of people in it. I got a bunch of kids, I got a wife, and finding time to take over the TV is, in my experience, more difficult. I can play PSO because it's right here on my monitor, and I'm like, oh, well, no one sits here but me. No one wants this. Anyway, yeah, I'm excited for that. I'm excited to watch Castlevania at some point. We're going to have a little bit more to talk about Castlevania later on in the show. Before we move on, though, we do have a $5 super chat from Kirindas says, "Hi, just curious, are you risking the Ubisoft stream because of the infamy with copyright strikes in previous years?" Yes, we are.
Yes.
Speaking a little bit about Ubisoft, they have been a great partner to the channel. They've reached out to us multiple times since we started, saying like, hey, if you need anything from us, we got you. We'll take care of whatever you need. They have a great public relations team that helps us with anything that we have questions about. And if they did strike us, I would feel very comfortable coming to them and saying like, hey, we were just rebroadcasting your show. Like, could you take the strike down? And I'm sure that they would do everything they could to help us out with that. They're a great partner for GVG, and I'm not worried. I'm just not. I guarantee, just like everything else we stream, like we got 7 claims. Or not strikes, claims. I always try to make that difference known from Jeff Keighley's show. So
Oh, I thought we only got 3. I'm in the process of clipping those out, so it's not claimed anymore. But the processing on that takes forever.
Yeah, it takes hours. So maybe it was just 3. I don't know. I saw like 5 or 6 emails come through, so I assumed they were all the same thing. I just stopped reading. I was like, fuck. I just closed Gmail. I was like, I don't want to read this. This is depressing.
And it's exactly what we thought it would be.
Right.
Yeah, exactly.
Right.
It's all the same stuff we called out as being claimed during the show. Anyway, speaking of E3 reveals, turns out we have 5 more that I didn't even know were coming. So let's throw those on screen. So XSEED has revealed their E3 2021 lineup, and I know some of you all are like, what the hell is an XSEED? But they're a niche Japanese publisher. They make, honestly, a lot of really great games. I know that we have some Rune Factory fans in the chat. So I wanted to throw this up for you. Rune Factory 5 is coming early 2022. Shadowverse, which is not something I'm super familiar with, is coming out on August 10th. And on July 20th, a franchise that is like one of my guilty pleasures, Akiba Strip, is coming out on July 20th. One of the first games that I ever reviewed was Akiba Strip on the PS4. And it is like a weird 3D action game where you beat people up until they're naked. I don't really know how to describe it another way. That's just kind of what happens. But one of the things that drew me into the series was in the early days of Steve Bowling covering games, I had a Twitch channel. It was not good. But on that Twitch channel, I played a lot of Akiba Strip because it had one of the first examples that I can think of in a packaged release that had like a Twitch plugin where people in the chat could interact with the game. So they could like spawn enemies, they could spawn weapons for you. And it was one of the most fun times I had on my PlayStation 4 just because, I mean, the small group of people that I could get to come to my Twitch streams way back then would totally randomize the game for me and make it just this enjoyable, hectic, crazy experience. And I'm deeply hopeful that something similar is in this latest entry in the series. And honestly, it's kind of just a competent 3D action game, of which I feel there aren't many left. XSEED is also involved in a ton of other great properties. Sakuna of Rice and Rune was an XSEED game.
Sakuna.
No More Heroes 1 and 2 are XSEED games, which means No More Heroes 3 was likely XSEED will be involved with that somehow. So they may have some pretty hype announcements in these 3 TBA slots that they're not showing yet. But June 14th, they'll have a closer look at Akiba Strip, Hellbound, and Debriefed. Debriefed. Anyway, and on June 15th, they'll be doing a presentation. I assume hashtag SVCB is Shadowverse, with special guest Joe Zieha. I don't know who that is.
Maybe
that's voice actor.
Yeah. Oh, okay.
Excuse me.
Claude in Fire Emblem.
So presumably we'll get these 3 question mark, announcements filled out during that presentation, which we will not be reacting to though, because that's right during TNT on Monday. So we, that's on, Monday, right?
Yeah.
So it's right during TNT.
Yeah. Maybe we'll find out more during the show, but yeah, we won't be reacting to it. But right. I will be hitting them up to find out more about the game just because it's a series I like. And I haven't told anybody this, but we do have a Twitch channel. We just don't use it. So maybe this will be a great opportunity for me to get that started and try it out. But XSEED games. E3 is going to E3, and even the smaller publishers are going to have things to show. But I have a feeling all of us are going to have more to talk about this next announcement. So I'm going to go ahead and throw that up on the screen here. Oh, and we did get a $5 super chat, but the message was retracted. So I don't know what you wanted to say, Colt D. I'm sorry. But yes. For now, I'll read message retracted.
Thank you, though, Colt D.
Yes, thank you for your $5 super chat. We appreciate you. This comes from Tails' channel and sort of, kind of indirectly from Sega themselves. So basically, Katie, I'm just going to say Katie from Sega. I neglected to write down her last name, but she has mentioned that Sonic Colors Ultimate may be featured at E3 2021 next week. But she basically said there may be information, but she said I would tune into that. So kind of wink, wink, nudge, nudge, implying that yes, there will be more information about Sonic Colors Ultimate at the show. She also had a little bit more to say about Sonic Central, saying that the format might return, but she was pretty candid in saying that there was no follow-up in the works just yet, that there was not another Sonic Central being planned right now, which, I mean, to be fair, I think that that's pretty reasonable. I mean, Nintendo doesn't do a direct and then immediately start, putting together the next direct. It's not like console R&D. It doesn't take as long.
Of course. I still kind of think another Sonic Central's coming. I mean, they did seem to pretty confidently position that as the vehicle for Sonic news going forward. So I feel like I still expect to see another one.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, didn't they say something like "see you in the next one" or something like that? Or at the beginning, they called
Something
it like a series of updates? Or...
Yeah.
I mean, it's the perfect avenue to talk more about Sonic 2022. So.
Yeah,
right.
I agree. And I think what's really going to make Sonic Central kind of a cemented thing that we expect in the same vein as a State of Play or a Nintendo Direct is when they inevitably announce Sonic Mania 2 at one of these. I feel like Sonic Rangers is going to be another 3D Sonic game that generates hype in the lead up to its release and then disappears from the public consciousness very quickly, unfortunately. I don't think it's going to break the mold.
I don't want to claim that one yet. It's hard to say. I think if they come upon something good, because we got those little details, and that was from a year and a half ago at this point, so it's entirely possible. Or is it a year and a half ago? Or is it just 6 months ago? Either way, it was from a while ago. But by the time the game comes out, they have plenty of time to fix those issues that they were talking about, and could be good. I don't know, but I want to have hope, which is foolish, but I do. Because, you don't want to see Sonic have bad games. You want to see him have, something fun. Doesn't always happen, but it's nice.
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah. I think the main thing is if they can give us anything with like a relatively decent replayability, I don't think much else really matters. Like, it's not going to be this gangbusters game at this point. Like, Yakuza sells more than Sonic. It's not, it is what it is. And whatever they throw out, as long as I can play it a couple times, come back to it, just chill with it, I don't really care if it's like weird, werehog or whatever it is.
I just hope it's not as safe as Forces was. It's not as though Forces was the worst game ever. It was just very subpar and disappointing because it was basically it echoes something that came before, but was worse in every way than the thing that came before, and it just played it so safe. And even if Rangers ends up being disappointing in some way, multiple ways, I don't know. I just hope it's more memorable than Forces was, and just tries something bold, right? And based on those was it 4chan leaks? Yeah, the 4chan leak that we reported on, it does seem as though they're going to try something new. Hopefully, it goes well. We'll see. I just hope it stands out in my mind more than Forces does, because Forces was just kind of a fart in the wind in the end, and it took 4 years to get here.
Yeah. I haven't played Forces, and I need to. I've got it installed on my PS5 now, just because you guys told me I have to.
Need is a strong word when it comes to Sonic Forces.
Let me throw out there. There was a time where I reviewed like each PlayStation Plus game every month on my channel. Just that was a thing I did for fun. I did that for several years. The only game that I did not do for like 3 years was Sonic Forces. I made my friend do it for me because I did not care. I was like, I'm either going to read fan fiction or he's going to do it for me. So, no, I'm good. Sorry.
Damn, that is brutal. I feel like I don't know. I want to try it just out of morbid. I own it on 2 platforms and I haven't played it, which is probably a sign.
Nice,
but
it looks nice, and the soundtrack's great. But that's Sonic, of course. The soundtrack's great, unless you're talking about Chronicles. But yeah, I mean, it's not as though there are no redeeming qualities. It's just so unremarkable and so just subpar, really.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. I still want to try it. But what I did read from those leaks on 4chan, which we have every reason to believe those are legitimate, they predate the reveal of Rangers by 6 months. Like, how could they not be? But I do, I do like what I read. Like an open world Sonic with some bosses, with kind of some light RPG elements. It doesn't sound bad on paper to me. It really doesn't. The soundtrack going hard. That's Sonic. Like, I think it sounds like there's a lot of potential in the premise for Sonic Rangers. Over time, I've learned not to trust Sega or the current iteration of Sonic Team to stick the landing on a good idea, though. And that's really unfortunate. Like, I hate to say it, because I mean, I wish Sonic would get outsourced at this point. I truly wish some other development team could get their hands on Sonic and try something. Because we see a lot of inspiring stuff in the fan base. Like, fan games come out that seem to get really close to a good marketable idea. And a lot of them do a good job of capturing the sense of speed and inertia that Sonic is known for in a 3D space. And I would really love to play a game like that, which is why I'm kind of excited for Rangers. I feel like maybe they've looked at some of those fan games and maybe learned some things.
The thing I would like from Rangers is because, from that 4chan leak, we know that there is some sort of open world-ish thing going on. I'm not going to say open world, but something open world-ish. And if you can just capture the feeling of being Sonic and running fucking fast in a big open field, that alone is pretty exciting for me. Obviously, you have to have a whole game around that, and I get that. But I would just love the idea of having a wide open area just to run around as Sonic in and truly, feel fast. I think that alone carries some excitement. But yeah, I want to see the whole thing come together. And I wouldn't put too much stock in the fact that 4chan, focus test leaker said it wasn't fun. I believe them, but that was also back in January. And this game isn't coming out till 2022. I don't know how much stock you can put in that early a build not being fun. They do have a lot of time to refine it and build it up and polish it.
I will say that one thing I really like is that Sega recognized that they needed to show this game to people outside the company to get perspective on whether or not it is fun, right? Because that's the whole point of a focus group test, is like letting them play a vertical slice and saying like, hey, does this work? Does it suck? And thankfully, it sounds like at least one person gave their honest opinion of it. Like, it's not good, And Sega bringing in people probably speaks to a bit of introspection there, saying like, hey, we know we've missed the mark with the last few 3D Sonics. Like, maybe we need to ask the fans, what if they really like it. Interestingly, I got an email from Sega, not a PR email, not related to GVG or business. I got an email from Sega at my personal email address that, the folks that I work with at Sega don't know, asking me if they could interview me about Sonic. So
nice.
I'm interested to see where that goes.
Actually.
I responded and they're like, what days are you free? I'm like, for you guys, anytime. I was like, let's talk. Awesome. So
I think, I'm sorry. I was going to say, I think that was related to, if you filled out any of the Sega surveys they do after the releases of their games, they send those out usually to a lot of people. Cause I think I've gotten one of those. I don't know that it was about Sonic, but it was about something. So they send those pretty frequently. That's the one thing Sega's pretty good at.
Nice.
That's not the one thing. That's a thing, I should say, that they're good at. They're good at many things. But as far as like taking criticism, we don't see that with Sonic very much from them. So if that was Sonic, that's really interesting.
Yeah. I'm excited. They haven't gotten back to me yet. So I'm hopeful. I do want to read a couple things out of our patron chat. Oh, go ahead.
They took the criticism and be like, nah, they're full of crap. We like what we did.
No, it's the fans who are wrong.
Like Nintendo when I dunked on Star Fox Zero all those years ago.
Oh, yeah.
All right. Real quick, our birthday boy and fellow scientist, Yu Narukami in the patron chat says, remember, Steve, if Sonic isn't fat, his games aren't good. Hashtag fat mascot gang. I agree.
Oh,
you can't deny the facts.
Too reductive, man.
And then Becca's Live also says, play it with one of your kids. It makes it so much better. I do find that I can play games that I probably would not tolerate otherwise with my kids, and it adds a certain level of enjoyment to it. Or it can even kind of revive a game I'm not that deep into anymore. We were playing Mario Kart, which I kind of graduated from. Like, it's not a game I whip out unless there's a lot of people around to play it with, or I'm playing online with our patrons. And I found a whole new level of enjoyment in that just playing it with my family very recently. So yeah, I get that.
Nice.
It's fun. You'll see, Derek. Give it a few years.
Also, 112 in our patron live audience chat. I completely forgot about this, but they say, when I was talking about Sonic open worldish being exciting, they say, well, Sonic was in Zelda that one time in Lost World with a decently open stage. I totally forgot about that crossover zone.
I've been wanting
and
to
I'm reminding myself, looking at, I played it, and I'm looking at footage right now, and it was actually really fun. I remember that now. Thank you for the reminder. That was actually really cool and kind of a proof of concept of what I'm saying, I think.
What a crossover. All right. Go ahead.
I was going to say, one thing I wanted to say regarding the focus testing thing is there was a really choice comment that a game designer that I've talked about a couple times on my channel, Mike Stout. He worked on the early Ratchet games. He worked on Crash 4. He's been around the industry. He mentioned that there was one time where they had to change a 2D gameplay gimmick from one of the Ratchet games from like a Mega Man X style like full game within a game to scale it down because of response to focus tests. And there were fans at that point in time that had heard him say that and said, oh, so if the fans were dumb and it was too hard for them and therefore they had to dump it down. But he said, a focus test shows that as a game designer, you're not explaining something well enough. It doesn't mean that it's bad. It means that it's poorly explained because they're playing these often like, gray boxed, like there's no detail, there's no art done. So it may have been this focus tester 6 months ago playing on a flat textured gray landscape running around and saying it's not fun. So,
Right.
To give them credit where it's due or defense where it's due, I guess, it's worth keeping that in mind that like he was a focus tester, he or she was a focus tester. But that doesn't necessarily mean that what they played was even close to what they were planning for the final product. It may have been a 6-month-old build at that point.
Yeah.
Well said. I completely agree with that. Well said.
All right. Before we move on, we've talked a lot about building games and how they're made, so I think you know where we're going with this. But we have a few super chats. Skull Kid Tiger with a $5 super chat says, "A wild Skull Kid Tiger has appeared. Don't force my hand at Fight a Founder, guys." Oh man, not it.
There's multiplayer.
Not
It
it.
is there?
Yeah, I don't think there is, if I remember correctly. I hope there isn't. And if it is, it couldn't be online, I doubt.
I would not know. And it sounds like I should be grateful for that. Bongo Lover, again, with a Canadian $5 donation. Welcome back, by the way, Bongo Lover. Sonic, don't you mean Bongo's 30-year-old rival who's been going through a crisis of life? Wow, you're digging deep into GVG lore. I don't remember when we talked about midlife crisis Sonic, but he's still there, still fighting with his ex-wife in my heart.
Yeah.
Thank you, by the way, for the $5 super chat. We appreciate that.
Thank you so much.
Goon with a $10 super chat. That feels almost insulting to read out, but I trust that you enjoy being called Goon. Says, nice to finally make it to a live show. Hands down, my favorite gaming news channel. Also, get well, Steve. I hear them sneezes, lol. Yeah, the sneeze was just like, I don't know. I live in Arizona. We're made of 85% dust here. But I am getting over kind of a cold, so that's why I'm coughing quite a bit. And I don't have a drink because I was stupid and didn't grab one right before the show. But I'm feeling okay. Thank you for the concern, though. I really appreciate it. Late Night Sprites with a $5 super chat says, the scientist has a point. I already had to talk myself into accepting Donut Drake isn't in the Uncharted movie. Hashtag Donut Drake is best Drake. I didn't know that Donut Drake was a thing, but I love it.
They took him out of 4 and it was a big deal to me. Like it hurt me personally.
I'm working on my donut bod for sure.
Right.
But
Forgot about Donut
yeah,
Drake.
now I need to look that up.
That's unfortunate. Yeah. Oh, yeah. That's funny. Yeah.
I have no idea. I'm Googling right now.
On the
you don't know?
PS4, it's a
Donut
speedrun
Drake
mode,
is
I believe.
Basically just Fat Drake, right?
Oh my
it's
god!
It's just like a character model swap, basically.
He was the tutorial character in the Uncharted card game that was on Vita, by the
was
way.
he?
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah, he was the first one. I'm pretty sure he's the first one you play, or not the tutorial. He's like the first like level 1 guy that you face in the dumb Uncharted card game.
I
Did not even know
absolutely
that.
want to play a game as Donut Drake now. Now that I've seen him, I feel like.
They also pitch his voice down.
Oh, do they?
So they pitch shift him down like 30%, so he sounds like warbled. It's really good.
Man.
And then they took him out of 4 for artistic license, and I get it, but like put Fat Drake in.
I could also see some people
think
like,
also-
is it considered fat shaming or not?
That's what I was going to say. The humor might be in slightly bad taste, especially now. It just might not translate. It does have shades of fat shaming to it. I was kind of thinking that.
That's fair. That's a good point.
Yeah.
I mean, it's there. I mean, he's not different. It's just it's like
Yeah.
a big head mode almost.
It's more just making. It's just it's played for laughs, but yeah, he doesn't play any differently from regular Drake.
Yeah, his hitbox
Of
is the
course, it's
same.
Important. Yeah, I mean, that's
sure.
of course important. But yeah, it's definitely Donut Drake was definitely a thing.
Yeah, I think that it, I mean, I wouldn't laugh at it for the nature of it. I just like the idea of fat characters in games in general. Like I genuinely like, and it doesn't extend just to humans. Obviously, mascots are my thing.
That's true. Yeah, Fat Sonic, classic Sonic. Yeah.
Yeah, Fat Sonic, Fat Pikachu, which Seth Everman agrees with. All right. Anyway, we could keep going, but we got a couple other super chats to read, a couple other stories to do, places to be, people to see, chicken to eat. You know the drill. Anyway, Blade Blur with a $2 super chat says, "You guys are great. Thank you for having Bolt on. We're lucky to have him."
Yeah,
I mean,
I honestly, when I reached out to him,
Day.
like, oh god, he's gonna be so busy working on his review, and he's like, no, you caught me a good time. I'm done.
No, I was literally about to postpone it because I was like, I don't feel like doing this today. Like, I want to play more of this game. Yeah, I'm good.
There you go.
I mean, to be fair, if there's ever a reason to ditch us, it's for Rift Apart for sure. I would definitely not begrudge you that. Diamond Death with a $5 super chat says, "Thoughts on the new Netflix Resident Evil news? I'm getting torn apart by people online. Also, who is the guest? Sorry for being dumb." Well, as we just mentioned, it is Kevin from the Golden Bolt. Hi. He is the world's resident Ratchet and Clank expert, or at least the expert in my world.
Well, thank you. That's high praise.
Yeah. And as far as Resident Evil Netflix, I'm actually not sure. Did either of you guys?
The only thing I've seen
that was
is
the
they cast
CG one.
It's a live action one.
Oh,
is it
live action one?
Yeah.
Oh,
The only thing I've seen is that they cast a black actor for West.
That's
Wesker.
what I assume people are
And
upset about.
I'm guessing that's why people are upset. Which,
and if they are, fuck them. Straight up.
Guess what? Nobody complained about.
Sorry. Yeah,
Samuel,
if that's what they're upset about, fuck them.
Nick Fury is white in the main universe of Marvel, but they specifically had him designed after Samuel L. Jackson in the Ultimate Universe. And they're like, no, that's cool. We want Samuel L. Jackson.
And also, Lance Reddick is a damn badass actor, man. He's a great actor. So if that's what people are upset about, and I assume that's what it is,
I mean,
whatever.
Here's the other part of it. Like, I like Resident Evil. I'm not a super fan, but I like Resident Evil. But Wesker is such a video game ass character design. Like, there's no way you make a real person look like him and feel anything but laughter when you see him. Like, if a real person walked around in like Matrix cosplay with like a blonde flat top and shades, you wouldn't be like, this is the bad guy. You'd be like, this is the guy that's comic relief.
Oh no, Lance Reddick is almost better because I didn't realize he was the I want to say concierge, but the guy at the desk in John Wick is like, oh my god, he's awesome, especially in the third movie. So,
and as Blade Blur points out, he's also in Horizon Zero Dawn. He plays a key character in that game too. Which
I didn't realize.
Shoot, that's right.
Yeah,
I did not realize that.
Yeah, he's awesome. He was also in Lost, and I'm like a huge Lost fan.
Wait, he was?
When it was. Yeah, he played a bit character in Lost. Yeah,
this is a lot of information coming at me quick. All right,
right.
Speaking of information, we got to get back to the news, but we do have one last super chat quoting a very intelligent person. Adam O'Sullivan with a £1.99 donation says, "Fat mascots are better. It's just science." I know where you got that, my friend, and I'm impressed. All right.
I love it.
Moving on. We talked about how to build a good Sonic game. Now let's talk about how to build our own games.
You remembered the seg, too. Wow.
Yeah.
You held on to that one.
I've been holding it in. All right. So this comes by way of Nintendo America surprise, or rather not surprise. Ratchet & Clank isn't the only thing that released today. Nintendo released their own game-building game, Game Builder Garage. And more importantly, because, I'm not going to lie, Game Builder Garage, exciting though it may be to people like me, is kind of a hard sell, they released a free demo. So, not a ton to say about this, but I think it's a smart move. Getting Game Builder Garage out there for people to try, I think, is a really important step, because this is not the type of game where I think most people are going to look at it and say, oh, I want to try that.
Yeah, especially this week, because this is despite it being E3, we're getting a lot of big releases between Ratchet and Clank, Intergrade, Guilty Gear Strive, and now Game Builder Garage. That's a lot of competition. Oh, and Ninja Gaiden. I completely forgot about the
Ninja Gaiden, the utterly terrible PC port.
I've heard.
Yeah, it's like you have to type in the resolution yourself. They're like, just enter what you want it to look like.
And
I want it to run at 76 pixels, like Horizon.
This is a harder sell just because you do have to make your own game, and I've heard other reviewers are having difficulty reviewing it because there's not a lot of other games out there, and there's only so much you can do for yourself. So yeah, I think the demo is a really good idea on Nintendo's part.
It is a good idea. I wish I don't know. Nintendo fortunately sent me a copy of the game this morning. Thanks, Nintendo. But I haven't gotten that far into it because I've been working today and then prepping for the show. But I did, for the purpose of this discussion, play through a little bit of it, like the very first lesson, right before the show started. Some quick notes. I really like that I can use a mouse to control the game. So when you're in docked mode, because it's really a lot of pointing and clicking and dragging and moving things that doesn't feel too great on Joy-Con, like because it's holding a button and moving an analog stick, whereas you can just use a mouse and click and drag and it's 10 times faster. So I really appreciate that they thought of that. That being said, I think discoverability is going to be a major problem for Game Builder Garage. Not being able to just go into the game and say, hey, show me all the popular stuff that people are making. Show me, a Mario Maker type ranking system or discoverability system would be very welcome here. I think that in a month or two, we'll probably see game devs that are fans of Nintendo putting out small, like micro-sized creations on Game Builder Garage, but I just don't think it's going to get the traction Nintendo hopes it will. That being said, I hope I'm wrong, just because it could be exciting. But
Jet Set says the Nintendo Life's review, they said you can't make your own art assets, which really killed it for them.
So during the preview that I got from the Treehouse, they showed me that you could draw like very simple textures, like think Animal Crossing flags, and that's what you have. But you can't like make a Mario model or make a Master Sword, like you can't build brand new things.
Right.
So, yeah.
That's understandable to a degree. There has to be some practical limit on where they draw the line on what you can build, of course, just, in terms of how deep are they really going to go with this. But I can also see that really having a chilling effect on creativity as well.
Yeah.
To be honest, the tech in here seems pretty cool. I don't think this is going to be much of a success.
No.
I'm just not getting that.
I don't think so either. Yeah.
Correct me. I've been completely out of the loop on this game because I saw it and said nope and walked away.
Yeah.
It's a lower price. It's like 30, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. And do they have any actual like pre-built games on there for you to kind of break down and play a la Little Big Planet, or no?
Kind of. So there are 7 lessons, and as you go through the lesson, you're building a game. And when you're done with the lesson, you do have a game that has essentially been programmed by Nintendo, but they stepped you through building it yourself, kind of Labo style. So you go through, and by the time you're finished with the lesson, you do have a playable finished product. And you get 7 of those. But then the rest of it is just go on social media and see what people are sharing. They can share out codes that get their game for you. But it's not, it's honestly kind of, for a game that's all about building things, you think they might bolt on a sharing function.
Yeah,
would hope.
That's a death knell.
It kind of reminds me of the 3DS version of Super Mario Maker, how it didn't have, actually, it's Super Mario Maker 1 in general, how there wasn't like a robust, course search feature within that game at all. And it's just like, why would you kneecap exactly the kind of game that is and not let people share their creations with one another? It's just Nintendo makes some of the weirdest decisions when it comes to games like this. And in general, I guess that's fair. But especially when it comes to builder games like this, they actively don't make it easy to share your creations with one another. And that's the whole point of games like this.
I love this. Captain Linebeck in the YouTube chat. Nintendo teaching you the harsh reality of marketing your game.
Yep.
Yeah.
Nope, fair.
All right.
Yeah.
Well, we've probably talked enough. So for those of you that are interested in Game Builder Garage, all 8 of you, I will have a review out at some point. It's E3. It's horrible timing. We didn't get the game until today. So it's definitely kind of lower on the totem pole of priorities. But I will put together something as soon as I figure out how to put together something in Game Builder Garage. But I think we're going to have a lot more hype for this next announcement. So I'm going to go ahead and get that up on screen.
Yes.
We talked about Castlevania, and for good reason. So there is an all-new series coming to Netflix. This was, again, part of the DMCA nightmare we call Geeked Week, or that they called Geeked Week. So it's going to be starring Richter Belmont, who is the son of, is that Sypha? And Trevor?
Yeah, well, they messed up. They actually had they had a addendum to that. It was actually pretty funny because everybody's like, the son, how old is he? Because it was set during the 1400s for Sypha and Trevor, and 1792 for the next one. They're like, how does that work? But then they updated with like, oh, it's great grandson, and just put a little
Sypha
arrow
and Trevor. Yeah.
of Sypha and Trevor.
I mean, all right, cool.
Hey, yeah. I'm so excited. Yes, I'm so happy. This is exactly what I wanted from this. I want more Castlevania anime. I want more in that universe. I can't say enough great things about this show. Can't wait.
I'm impressed it's in the same universe. I wasn't sure with the way it ended, the series ended, just because it felt very complete in a way that you wouldn't expect. It's also one of those things where I've seen some people upset that they've skipped Simon Fair.
Right.
But I also think and I think everybody who has that complaint knows why they did this. They want to keep Alucard. They may not be able to keep Sypha and Trevor, but dang it, they're going to have Alucard in there.
Nice.
Exactly.
That is a thing. I'll be honest, I won't go into season 4 spoilers or anything like that, but I think the main villain of this whole thing, at least for the first season, if they're setting it up to follow the games a bit more, we're getting Shaft.
Yep, I was thinking the same thing. It's going to be Shaft, I think.
Shaft and then Ghost of Shaft and then all stuff. Honestly,
Totally
I'd love to get more of the classic like movie monster type stuff to get the mummy and the Frankenstein monster, the creature and whatnot, Medusa. I think that'd be kind of fun.
And as Evernight Studio and who was it? Evernight Studio. Oh, and I think Boltmouse in the YouTube chat pointed out there isn't as much where Simon is concerned about overall lore in terms of universe building. Oh, it's Gregster 101 saying Simon's story is just a Belmont versus Dracula. Whereas, Richter, there's more going on with Alucard, as you were saying, Derek. So I think that could be one reason they skipped over Simon as well, is there's just not as much to build up around
Simon
him.
doesn't have a supporting cast, and they were able to pull from Curse of Darkness with the Trevor stuff.
Right.
But Richter, the fact we're getting Maria, and after what they did with Sypha, I'm so down to see.
Oh, Maria's going to be so cool.
What they do with Maria.
Yeah. I'm hyped.
So I guess the first question, since I know neither Steve nor Golden Bolt has Kevin. Thank you.
No, you're good. I am trying to pay as much attention as I can, but my dog is currently trying to play, so I have been trying to keep him quiet the whole way.
It's perfectly fine. I know you haven't watched the series, but have you played God, I'm blanking on now. Rondo of Blood. Ugh.
I have played like the first level of Rondo of Blood. Castlevania is one of my like blind spots as far as games go. That's like the one where like I've played a couple. Like I played Bloodstained. I played all the Bloodstains, but I just haven't gone back to classic Castlevania or Symphony. I want to soon, but it's been one of those where I'm like, one of these days I'm just going to go through all the main ones, and I just haven't yet.
I've done it. It's good.
Fair enough. Yeah, it's certainly a series to get to whenever you can. I mean, it's amazing. Yeah. But yeah, we all have those blind spots for sure. Something that I think Derek will agree with as well. Drew Manian in the YouTube chat says, "I just want a Soma season in 5 years." Me too. I want the story of 1999 in an anime. That would be.
I'll be honest.
It's not the same universe. I want to see it.
Honestly, if they were just sticking with the Alucard stuff, Soma does make the most sense at the next one.
It does, actually. Good point. Yeah.
Though I think with the popularity of it, I think we get Shinoa.
Shinoa is super popular. Yeah, that's true. I want to see Julius's story. I want to see the story of 1999 in any form, game, anime, just in general. But I know that's something a lot of Castlevania fans want.
I'm going to have to take your word on that. It sounds awesome. I'm like your backseat Castlevania fan who played Symphony of the Night and was like, "That's a good game. I'll see this series again in 28 years." Anyway, I've heard universally the praise for the series. I'm excited for this new series as well. I just need to, again, it just furthers my backlog anxiety about Castlevania on Netflix.
We have time. We didn't even get a trailer. We didn't even have character designs. It literally just showed Trevor and Sypha. So
it probably won't debut until at least 2022.
Well, as I like to say, whenever anything new gets announced for something I haven't started yet, thanks for giving me more time. All right, so, speaking of things that have something to do with time. Let's get our next story up on the screen. And I guess IGN has an expo now. I don't know what this is. 2021 is somehow weirder than 2020. But Arcade, this comes courtesy of IGN and our good friend Kat Bailey, friend of the channel. Arcade 1UP has revealed that Turtles in Time, a Street Fighter II Champion Edition tribute, and the Simpsons arcade game, among others, are coming. And goddamn, like,
Beautiful.
this is the easiest way to empty my bank account. Like, just knowing that they're going to be releasing some of my favorite arcade cabinets. And Arcade 1UP, if I remember correctly, does kind of limited runs of these. Like, they do a couple production runs and then they're just gone forever. And so you have to snap them up like as soon as they come out if you want them. Man, I just I don't even have room
it's like
for these.
$600 though, but yeah, you just don't have the room.
Yeah.
I don't have room.
If I had the room for these, I would totally get at least. I want Turtles in Time, is what I want.
I see at least one bare wall in your room, Ash. You could put one up.
Yeah, you can get in there.
Yeah, but we are on the 5th floor, so getting it up here it'd be kind of a pain in the ass.
A crane.
Yeah.
There you go.
But no, honestly, I love the idea of having one of these. $600, obviously, it's a bit pricey, but what you're getting for that is, I think, pretty legit. So, and I've only ever heard good things about Arcade 1UP in terms of like.
Same.
The quality of their products.
I've heard good things. Sorry, I didn't mean to step on either. I've heard good things. I thought I saw someone on Twitter. I don't know who this was, so I'm sorry to whoever it was that mentioned it. That they mentioned that like a Simpsons arcade board is less expensive, like by a lot, than getting the Arcade 1UP. So if you had an empty cabinet, you could just get a Simpsons arcade board. I think. I'm again. That's one of those where I scrolled through Twitter a couple days ago and I saw it and I said, "Cool," and kept scrolling. So I may be wrong about that, but yeah.
I would love to get my hands on an original board. The one thing that I would say that I dislike, I mean, they do feel like they're getting way up there in price. Like $600 is a lot for a single arcade machine that is not running original hardware. Like I kind of understand the value of retro arcade machines because they're like 20, 30 years old now and they're still functional, hopefully. And you know, that, and they're huge. The Arcade 1UP machines are what, like 2/3 scale or something, like 60% of the size of an original. So they're a little more, you know, cost effective from a space perspective. Like we were just talking about how none of us have room for one of these smaller cabinets, but
they're 3/4 scale.
Yeah, I kind of expect like $200 to be the cap for something like this. $600.
I wonder if it's a licensing thing. Because two of these three are big licensing properties.
Oh yeah,
I wonder if maybe 4 players on TMNT wouldn't be quite as nice at that scaled down size though. That's really you're getting friendly with whoever 300 people you're playing with.
The thing is, Turtles in Time kind of has the least value of all these because the other ones they talked about is the Street Fighter one is actually features 12 Capcom games: Street Fighter II Champion Edition, Hyper Fighting Edition, Turbo Edition, Super Puzzle Fighter 2 Turbo, Darkstalkers Revenge, Darkstalkers 3, Saturday Night Slam Masters, Knights of the Round, Eco Fighters, Capcom Sports Club, and Muscle Bomber Duo, all on that one machine.
God damn.
In comparison to just Turtles in Time.
Really nice.
Why would you say this to me, Derek? Damn you.
Yeah, now I want that.
Turtles in Time.
And then even that Miss Pac-Man Galaga one is featuring Galaga 88, Galaxian, Dig Dug 1 and 2, Mappy, Rally X, Rolling Thunder, Rompers, Tower of Draga, and King of Balloon. So there's a lot more value in those.
That's too bad, because it would be nice if Turtles in Time had the TMNT 89 game as well.
Yeah, like the one that was TMNT
really cool.
2 on NES.
Yeah,
exactly. I agree with Kevin, though, that there's probably a huge licensing cost associated with the Turtles and the Simpsons machines, which is why there's just one game. But damn, you had me at Darkstalkers there, Derek. Like, Darkstalkers on an arcade cabinet, sign me the fuck up, man. I need that. Yeah. I could probably like evict a kid and find room for that.
This is your new kid.
Yeah, you're a very good child, but you're not Darkstalkers. You got to go. Yeah, I really want to. I feel like that's my middle-aged dream, is just to have like an arcade somewhere in my home with a bunch of
Oh, yeah.
cabinets and stuff like that. Like the evolution.
Get rid of the
of,
garage or empty out the garage and put in a bunch of
Oh,
arcades.
God.
Oh no,
I
I
would
live in
love to
Arizona.
have
Those
my
things
own.
would burst into flames in my garage. There's probably a law against having flammable objects outside in Arizona. But yeah, it's I really want these, but I know like in my heart they're just deeply impractical for me to own.
Right.
And the thing that kind of turns me off of Arcade 1-Up, not in general, but just that makes it more difficult to me to want them is, one, the cost difference between them and original authentic hardware is minimal, or in some cases, as Kevin mentioned, it could be, that the 1-Up is more expensive. And it's not like this is FPGA, like high-end hardware that's running these, excuse me, that's running these games perfectly. It's emulation still. It's essentially like a MAME box. And when you tell me $600 for a MAME box, I'm like, wow, that is really steep.
You're paying for the wrap art at that point.
Oh yeah.
Like that's all you're paying for.
Yeah. So, I mean, if it were up to me, if I could, the barrier of entry for me is that I'm not handy enough to be able to build a cabinet, but I definitely know how to build a MAME machine. If I could pay legally to obtain those ROMs, I would definitely just throw them on my PC and get like a good arcade joystick and have the same experience. And maybe later down the line, pay somebody to craft me a cabinet, and I'd come out on top. It would cost me a lot less, I guarantee it. But I mean, it's still cool for what it is.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right.
Yeah. Agreed.
Oh, go ahead.
Oh no, I disagree with you.
Yeah.
All right. So we've got a couple super chats, and then we're gonna close out the show with a final story. Blade Blur with a $2 super chat says, since the GBA turned 20, which yes, it did. Happy birthday, Game Boy Advance. Thanks for making me remember my mortality. What's your favorite GBA game? For me, it's a toss-up between the original Battle Network and
nice.
And the port of Super Street Fighter 2 Turbo. For some reason, I just dumped so much time into that port.
Is that scaled down or is that screen crunched?
I want to say it's screen crunched.
Okay, I'm just curious.
Yeah, I loved it though. It was ridiculous.
It's a toss-up, but I'd have to either go Superstar Saga or Aria of Sorrow. Both excellent games.
Yeah, for me, Superstar Saga and Metroid Fusion come close. Minish Cap is great, but for me, ultimately, it's going to be Mega Man Battle Network 3 is my favorite GBA game.
God, Metroid's up there too. God,
Metroid Fusion's fantastic though. Yeah.
Wow.
I feel like
Zero Mission.
I mean, you guys said Zero Mission, Minish Cap. I might go with an easy one, which is just the one I played the most, which was probably Pokemon Leaf Green. Like I had the original Gen 2, but like going back to it, like I didn't get Gen 3 at all. I just didn't have the money for it when I was a kid. So that was the one that I put 1,000 hours into it, put all my Pokemon over to gold, and then sold gold. Or heart gold, rather.
That is painful.
Yeah. When it comes to GB, it's really hard to pick just one because there are so many. Battle Network 3, but there's so many games that you could also just put up there at the very top as well.
As people are pointing out, like Minish Cap, Final Fantasy 6 Advance, Final Fantasy 5 Advance,
Pokemon Emerald. Yeah.
It's incredible. That thing only had 3 years, and it was just a burned super bright, and then the DS came out, and it's incredible that in 3 years it got all that done.
The Astro
Boy Omega Factor was great.
Yeah, that too.
Sure. All right. We have one more super chat. $10 super chat from Sunset Aura says, as one not knowing IGN announces games through them, shout out to Doki Doki Literature Club Plus with a physical edition being announced at their event. I'm not sure any of you have played the original release, though. Guilty. I have not.
I have not either.
But I've heard a lot about it.
I have not, but just because I figured I'd never get a chance to play it, I watched the Game Grumps playthrough of it, and that's all I'll leave it at, because this is the game that is the epitome of you need to go in for yourself.
Yes,
I see.
I've heard
us discussing it is the worst thing that could possibly happen. It is cool that it's coming to other systems. We'll have to just leave it at that, because it is one of those games that you just have to see for yourself, and the cool things it does with its genre.
That is definitely one way to put it. All right.
Thank you so much, Blade Blur and Sunset Aura, for the donations. Thank you.
Yep. So with that, we have one final news story. And I don't really have a segue for this. I could probably make like a toss a con to your Witcher joke or something like that. But let's go ahead and get this on screen. And that is that CDPR and Netflix have announced that they are now launching a Witcher conference, like a expo for The Witcher. I like The Witcher.
All right.
I like The Witcher 3.
Yeah.
I like The Witcher show. What the fuck is this?
I mean,
Apparently
Witcher's
there's
great.
a lot
but,
of Witcher stuff.
Yeah.
This is a way for Henry Cavill to get his dream of just being next to Geralt from the game on that promo art right there. That's the only thing I could think.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which
maybe.
cool. If that's what he wanted, I don't even care. I would do the same thing.
Oh, absolutely.
Right.
Yeah,
So, I mean,
cool.
this is cool. Sure.
Yeah, so the WitcherCon is all they've announced is that there will be more information on July 9th where they'll kind of outline what this is. But the implication is that it's a convention for fans of one specific franchise. So, like, imagine if Nintendo had ZeldaCon and it was just like they didn't talk about anything else. They're just like, "Hey, Zelda, come hang out with people that like Zelda." I'm sure it will find some level of success, but I mean, I feel the thing I think is going to happen is one, we'll see the next gen update for The Witcher 3.
Yeah.
But I feel like if you're going to do
Definitely.
a whole convention, two things have to come of it. A deeper look at The Witcher Season 2 and an announcement at minimum of a follow-up to The Witcher 3. The Witcher 3 is an old-ass game now. Like, it's been out for a long time.
You think it's time for Witcher 4?
Yeah, I totally think it's time for
Yeah.
Witcher 4. I imagine that there may be some overlap, too, with the creator of The Witcher. I wish I knew his name, but the author of the books. Maybe he's somehow involved.
I'd
don't
be
know.
surprised because I'm pretty sure he's the one that hates the Witcher game series. I'm
you
pretty sure
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure he licensed it out for a pretty cheap sum, and then got really mad when the games outsold the books. And
No.
I know the only reason I know this is that the 2033 guy, like the guy who wrote the original books, said, "Hey, shut up! Like, the only reason people read my books is because of the game. It's good. You got money from it. Shut up." So, I think
That's pretty
I would be surprised if he was involved, but I think he may have signed off on the show.
I was going to
Maybe.
say, I think that they approached him and, like, redid his deal when the show was a thing.
Okay.
Because I do remember very clearly, because Kotaku had like an interview with him about The Witcher 3, the game, and they were like, they published it in full, but it was him basically being like, I don't give a shit about any of this. I didn't get enough
Right.
money for this. Fuck you. And that was it. That was like the whole interview. And I'm like, I respect that. I respect that he didn't play the game. He's like, look, I didn't get enough money for this. They dragged me out here to talk to you. Who the fuck are you? I don't care. Give me some more money and maybe I'll be nice.
I mean, that's pretty much how Marvel treats the creators of all these characters and storylines. So,
Yep.
Yeah,
not
that's true.
wrong.
Yeah.
Oh my god. Yeah, I would definitely love to meet that person, like face to face, and just like he sounds like he'd be a cool person to have a drink with. Anyway, yeah, WitcherCon coming soon. Maybe we'll find out more about a follow up to The Witcher 3. I think that would be a really cool thing to learn. And to close out the show, we have one final super chat. Calico Plus with a $5 super chat says, "You walk into the WitcherCon, it's an empty room. Only Henry Cavill is there. He holds a PS5 and The Witcher 4 in his hands. Then you wake up." I wouldn't believe it. I would know that's wrong because I know that Henry Cavill is a hardcore PC gamer and his people would turn on him if he held up a PS5.
The PS5.
There you go.
He's like, I've sold out. Anyway,
Yeah.
with that, we've covered all of the important stories from today's news. There's so many stories to cover, so this is just
there.
Huh?
There's a lot out there.
Yeah, there's a lot out there. It's almost like it's a certain time of the year where people just decide to drop announcement after announcement. Don't know what's going on. It's weird. This definitely didn't happen last year. Anyway, we've covered all the stories that we could fit into an hour from today's news. Is more accurate today. But before we go, Kevin, my good friend, master of all things Ratchet and Clank, where can our audience find you?
Well, first off, thank you guys again for having me on, and I guess next week as
course.
well. I'm excited to come back and gush about Ratchet more. and also I'm glad I caught up on news from this today because I've been all out of the loop. So it's been really nice catching up in real time this time. You guys can find me at YouTube or Twitch or twitter.com/thegoldenbolt. Make sure to check Derek's review out of Rift Apart, and then mine will be out tomorrow at some point. So you can check that out as well and see two different takes from two different fans, which I think are going to be pretty similar takes, it sounds like.
Yeah, it feels like it.
Mm-hmm.
So,
Nice.
yeah.
Yeah, watch ours today. Watch Kevin's tomorrow. Trust me.
Yeah.
There's a lot in this game to unpack, and even two reviews won't get you the full story.
I guess the big question is, how deep are you going? Because I followed the embargo. Even despite it, being on release day, I just followed the embargo.
I'm following the embargo guidelines, kind of. I'm not touching anything story-wise. Like, it's going to be spoiler-free. The only footage that I'll be showing that's after the first couple planets will probably be like either a clip here or there, just to show like a location, vaguely, or the arenas.
The complaints that I followed theirs to a T, so I couldn't show the arenas, and I couldn't show the two times that the game or system froze up when I entered the shop, and I was like, well, I can't show that.
I had one of those too. Yeah,
I have a feeling the day one patch probably got rid of that though.
It might have. The day one patch went out on Thursday, so I had that installed, and it still happened to me. It actually happened to me, I think, in New Game Plus. So it was actually a Friday morning that would have happened technically.
It constantly autosaves though, so it wasn't a huge deal.
Yeah, I was literally right where I was. I just had to rebuy the gun that I'd bought, which was fine.
Oh yeah. One of the most remarkable things about this game is it feels unreal when you hit continue. Like how short it is to get you back into the game after that. You hit continue, it's like, there you go.
The most incredible thing.
Especially because I am so used to it going like, all right, here they're flying by this scene, here they're flying by this scene, here they're flying by this scene. Okay, now it's time to land on the planet.
It's a Star Wars pan, Star Wars crossfade. And I was watching Digital Foundry's video today actually, and they mentioned that like that crossfade is like both scenes actually being loaded in real time. That's not like a cutscene. That's it happening as it crossfades.
Because I was like, oh, they're going Star Wars here with that crossfade, but they're actually going real time.
They've made 2.5 games in the last 7 months that they've released.
Jeez.
They made Miles Morales
with no crunch.
With no crunch. And I just highlighted in my Ratchet 3 big retrospective, which if you want to know more about Ratchet Clank, those retrospectives, good place to do it. I highlighted crunch heavily in that video. And I did it because I had a feeling that we would hear that this game did not have crunch, because we had already been hearing that it didn't. And I wanted to show, hey, you can learn, you can improve, you can do it. There is no excuse. Because if Insomniac can do it, sure, they are insane and incredible, but anyone can do it.
Nice. Absolutely. Yeah.
You guys are killing me.
All right. Well, we've got to let Ash get to play this damn game, so we have to finish the show sometime. So, as we like to say at the end of every episode, we owe an extra special thank you to everybody in the audience, every one of our patrons. We could not do this without you. You guys enable us to do the things we love, and we love you guys for it. Thank you so much for the opportunity that you give us to cover games and gush about how good they are, sometimes for way too long. But we have to give an extra special thank you to our patrons at the producer tier and above. Y'all know that this show literally cannot happen without you. It's just, I mean, it's a huge amount of people that show us the support, and I'm so happy to be able to read these names out every single time I host the show. I'm going to try to do my best to get through this list without coughing. But we have to give an extra special thank you to our patrons at the executive producer tier and above. Y'all know who you are. I'm going to screw up at least one of your names. Y'all know that happens every single time on this show, and I'm so sorry that it's always me that does it. But anyway, those fine folks include Jared Edinger, Brandon Bovia, Rob Arman X, Itiono Ben, Dan and Twistle, Dennis J, Z Patty, Hyrule Hermit, Sky Blue Flames, Adam O'Sullivan, It's ATM, Octopuppet, Richard Herrera, Michael Phone, Aiko Carroll, The D-Pad, Vesmio, Waffle King, Kitty Kongfax, Angel Martinez, Vedran Hotik, 112, John, Joshua Hunter, Evernight Studio, Benny Yao, Emerald, Azran127, Kenrule09, Pagrama, Jake Pelka, Geller, Shiny Turkey, Joseph Rutkin, Titus Malvolio, Charlie Bird, Geeky Griffin, Lucky Wonderfish, Top Dog 23100, Young Ben Kenobi, Doug Shomix, Andrew Medeiros, Orem M, Sakuragi, Becca, Rocks the Cat, Fizzywig Hoyd, Critmonger, The Legend of Groose, Eddie B, Kyed, Kit Fisto, West Egg, Deaneth, Coda, Michael McCaw, Matthew Wong, Goron Amber, Straightlace, Hoobie, Wolf X Blake, Moon Macarons, Ascaron 809, Kane, Captain Finlandia, 60 Minutes and 60 Seconds, Christopher Masterson, Spicy Pandaughter, The Game Orb, Dano the Artist, Ravelox, Synchro Lord, Brainchild, my mom, hi mom, Kotar Pack, Scuff 196, Skull Kid Tiger, AJB Cool, Blizzica, Jason Uloa, Jaden Buck, Phantom Project, Darik, Jeff Ed, Ray Clausen Jr., Nathan the voice actor, happy birthday again by the way, Mega Conrad, and finally, Hulkamaniac 55. Remember, you too can
Steve,
become a patron. Huh?
Sorry, really quick, Steve. Just wanted to give a warm welcome to our new producer, Maddie. You didn't make it on the list this time, but you will be on Monday. So just wanted to say welcome to Maddie. Thank you so much.
Oh,
Steve,
thank you.
Take it away.
Yes. Yeah. Anyway, remember, you too can become a patron over at patreon.com/gvgaming, where for as little as $5 a month, you can join us live for all our episodes, which, okay, everyone can do that now, but you can get MP3 versions, and you can see our exclusive post show, which happens right after TNT every Monday, Wednesday, Friday, around, 5:30-ish in this case. But thank you so much for watching. If you like this video, please consider subscribing to the channel. It helps us out a lot, helps us, find more people to share the good vibes with. But until tomorrow, we'll be live tomorrow for, is it Ubisoft Forward tomorrow?
Yeah, Ubisoft Forward is our first E3 reaction stream, not counting Summer Game Fest on Thursday. Tomorrow at 12 p.m. Pacific, so come react with us. We'll be there. And we are going to be posting our entire E3 schedule on our Twitter following the show, so keep an eye out for that.
Yep, 12 p.m. Pacific, and we will be going through Ubisoft and Devolver later that day at 1. Yes. I think they're back-to-back, so
1:30.
Stay tuned for that.
For Devolver. Yeah.
And we will see you, if you're in our patron, in just a few minutes. Otherwise, we will see you tomorrow at noon. Thank you guys so much for watching, and good night, and good vibes. Bye, everyone.
Later.
Bye, everybody.